Thank you for staying with us right here on Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405 in Business News at this hour. A PwC report has found that deals worth more than 170 billion rand in the mining sector as a result of a scramble for critical minerals. The 2024 study indicates an uptick in mergers and acquisitions as mining companies are seeking to add transition metals, particularly copper, into their portfolios. This is coupled with greater demand for efficiency and diversification in difficult economic climates. PwC South Africa mining assurance partner Vuyiswa Khutlang discusses this with us. Thank you so much for your time, Vuyiswa. Mergers and acquisitions, not necessarily a bad thing, but what does it say about the current climate in South Africa where minerals are concerned?
What it says is that we still have great minerals in South Africa that people want to invest. It says that a lot of people still see the good side of investing in South Africa. So we've got the minerals, we've got the positive talks that we're having now with all the collaborations that are happening with government. So people still see opportunity to create business and grow the mining industry in South Africa. But what it also is saying is that because of the commodity down cycle, you get a lot of consolidation and that type of movement. So people are also, the miners are saying, well, what can I do at this time to make my business grow and be more efficient and create profitability? The other thing is also...
Yeah, pardon me for interjecting there, Vuyiswa, because you raise a very important point about these mergers and acquisitions. They do come, of course, with the approval of authorities, and the biggest concern would then be jobs. In the past couple of months, in the year of 2024 and the latter part of 2023, what has the trajectory been telling us about the retention of people within jobs in the mining sector? Because that too could be a threat.
Yeah, I think right now there's also a combination of factors, especially with the commodity down cycle in terms of prices. So if you see the PGM operators, the miners have come out and said that they'll be retrenching people. Really, it is a difficult time for them. If you look at the basket price, it really has gone down with palladium and rhodium decreasing significantly. So that's a price factor that's saying, well, currently we're operating in a difficult environment. What I need to do is I need to be lean and mean to survive the down cycle so that I can be there when the uptick is there. You also see that...
No, I'm actually looking to get more feedback on what we are also seeing, because it speaks directly to transitional metals and copper being identified as one of the biggest gainers here. Yeah,
and really you can see with the copper price. So a huge component in your net zero goal, so you used a lot in your the instrument, to get to net to zero. So a lot of companies are looking and saying, well, how do I place myself for the future, for the demand that's there? A lot of studies have come out to say there will be a shortage in future. So what are the miners doing? They're saying, well, I need to position myself for the future. And that's what they're doing with copper. They're looking at the assets that are here in South Africa, that they will be able to operate and mine, and they're placing themselves for the future. And that's what's happening with the strategic or the critical minerals. I was at the Joburg Indaba earlier on today, and there was a lot of discussions around the critical minerals to just show the importance of that. Everybody is talking about critical minerals, be it in Australia, USA, in China. That is the topic, to say, these are the minerals we will need to get to a low carbon environment.
Where then does South Africa sit in comparison with global peers where critical metals are concerned, and also chasing those goals of net zero, which at times we've been told that we could be on a spectrum where South Africa is on a disadvantage, where jobs are most created, or where coal is produced in this country?
Well, it depends on your outlook, right, on what's going to happen. So if you look at the recent studies that have come out, coal is still going to be here for a long time because we need energy security. So even the countries that had gone out and said, by this time I'll be looking and saying I'm sitting at a net zero, they've actually extended their life to say, well, maybe it'll take a little bit longer for me to get there. If you look at your developing countries, like in Asia, a lot of them are still focusing on coal. And when we export here in South Africa, we really do export to your more Asian countries. The bulk of our coal goes more to your Asia type of countries. So coal will be here, I think, for a very long time. And the studies do back that argument that coal will be here. Also in South Africa, our energy is 80% coal. So to sit and say you're going to transition and remove 80% in a short time, that will take a very long time. So there is still a future for coal for quite some time. How long is the debate? But I think at least 20 years, we will still see coal being a player in that conversation. Where is South Africa? Well, when we talk about critical minerals, it depends on what you define as a critical mineral. But the China far ahead of everyone, I guess, when they started investing years ago in terms of critical minerals. The US now is starting and putting a lot of money towards that. And as South Africa, we have started those conversations. Just here at the Joburg Indaba, there was a panel now on critical minerals and the conversation that government is having also with the mining companies. And it's encouraging to see we are defining, we're starting to have a goal of where we're going and a plan, you know. The government is also saying, well, we're looking and saying we want to provide certainty so that there are investors who come in and invest, you know. They've gone out and looked at the ore bodies in South Africa and saying, well, what can we identify as critical minerals that we're having, and having those conversations with the industry to find a way forward.
That's a very encouraging point, especially when we look at the optimism that's coming from the new administration in the form of the Government of National Unity. Is industry looking to make even further gains? I mean, I'm saying this in reference to the engagement that the President had with CEOs across the spectrum of business in this country just this week. And you also spoke about the Joburg Indaba and the encouraging elements of discussion points that are currently at hand.
Yeah. I think we are clearly seeing a more positive talk. I've been going to the Joburg Indaba for the last couple of years, and the talk is actually quite positive in terms of the future of South Africa and what's happening at the moment. And it's more now executing on the plans that these collaboration groups have had. So they've had one for energy, they've had one for the logistics, they now have one for crime, and now it's about execution and for us to see real growth. I just wanted to go back on the whole employment thing. There has been, I remember Seriti came out and said, well, we now have Seriti Green, where as we close out our coal mining companies, we're going to move to the green. And one of the things that was clear was that it won't be a one-to-one replacement in terms of jobs. So I think that is a factual thing. But there's a lot other things that we need to start looking at, you know, as we close mines, you know, there's all these rehabilitation funds that are there. What can we use there to create opportunities? How do we transition the communities around? What other industries do we diversify into, such as farming and all of that, in those mining areas that we are operating in? So I don't think it's a conversation we need to have. It's a conversation that everyone needs to sit down and say, what is the plan? How are we doing this properly to ensure that we cover as much as we can as a country?
Vital points that you raised there. Vuyiswa Khutlang is with PwC talking us through their latest report on the mining sector in South Africa. Good. And on the other side, it is cautioned that we stay optimistic, but to a very measurable end.